Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Anecdotal Economist, and today we are going to talk about why gold could be about to drop. Oh, and I don't want to forget about silver either. This isn't just a gold channel. Let's get into it. I got in a nice big gold order. Okay, that didn't come out the way I thought it would. That's where it comes from.
Here, pick it up, feel it, tell me what you think.
No other mint has this issue.
The triangle has replaced the British pound.
Like little trading cards.
That's a naughty word. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it.
Alright, so we're going to get started off with a little chart here. The first thing I want to say is that if you're worried about gold prices falling, you're maybe not buying the right way. The first thing you got to think about is that short-term gold drops should not matter to your stack. That's, at least in my opinion, not the way I do it and not the way I promote it on this channel. But let's talk about why this could happen. I'm going to start off with a little chart here and let's see if we can find out. So this is a really nice chart. Somebody mentioned it the other day talking about US debt and how gold always follows it. I want to point two things out on this chart. Number one, I want to point out the 1980 high and this sort of downtrend that happened for 20 years from 1980 to the year 2000 and why that doesn't matter. And the thing you have to understand is that we're not looking at this section of the data specifically because we had just come off a quasi-gold standard in 1971. There was a lot of panic and fear, gold went up, and that panic and fear made sense, but as the system developed and interest rates were allowed to go up, through various means, the United States of America earned the world's trust in the US dollar. And so gold went down in value, which makes sense because countries weren't using it as money anymore. The same is true of any asset. If it's not in vogue, it's not going to be worth as much money. But at some point, we had to hit a bottom where even though nobody was using it, people still valued it, government still valued it, and there had to be a bottom. We didn't know when that was going to be, and it was hard to predict. But it's very clear in hindsight that the year 2000, give or take, was in fact the bottom. At that point, there was no one left to stop using gold. Everyone that wasn't going to use it anymore had stopped, and thus began the bull market. And I don't believe this bull market is going to stop until there is a new monetary system. More and more people are going to continue to go back to gold, or at least they will maintain their position. So either way, I believe gold will go up. And silver, well, it just tends to follow. And so now let's look at the second half of this chart. On the second half of this chart, after the year 2000, you'll see that the debt skyrockets and gold more or less just follows it on its way up. It's messy, it's not clean, it's imperfect, but it continues to do so. My argument here is quite simply that gold follows inflation through spending, and the way that you can measure that is the US debt. Now, that's a bit of an oversimplification, and as I always say, you got to use a lot of different metrics before you make decisions on how and why and when you're going to buy. But I would argue that this is one more tool in your toolkit. A few videos ago, I talked about moving averages and how that's one way you can try to beat the market, as it were. Well, now I'm talking about another way, which is to watch what the US debt does. Now, this is a little bit more of a long-term thing to pay attention to, but if we got a new government who decided they were going to pay off the debt, or we're going to allow interest rates to go up for a long period of time, like maybe happened with Volcker in the 80s, well, that might give you some pause on your gold purchases. At least it would for me. I personally don't think that's going to happen for a number of reasons, and I'd imagine quite a few of you are with me on that. So I titled this video that gold could go down. And the reason I did that is because if you look one more time at this chart, you can see that whenever gold is substantially above the US debt, at least on this chart, the way they've overlaid it, it tends to fall back down below and shoot up again. And this chart only goes up to about 2023. In the last year, we've shot up and we're once again on this chart, we would be above the US debt. And so gold could actually have a pullback here. It would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And if it continues to go up, well, I'll be buying small amounts following it up. But if it goes down, that'll be my chance to really dig in. In the meantime, paying attention to silver is fun. I'll have to make a video about that soon. But you don't need to worry because here we have the debt clock. And guess what? Let's just pull that over. All right, now you can see it. Top left corner, US debt, you don't have to worry. It's not going down anytime soon. And there's all kinds of reasons why it really just can't go down. But that's a monetary discussion, and you should listen to somebody smarter than me to dive into that. So guys, my ultimate point is gold and silver, long term, going up. Short term, well, there's always pullbacks in life. That's just part of life, isn't it? So once again, we've come to the end of the first portion of my video. I always like to do a review, and I'm trying to quickly get through this Robinhood series because I want to pick just one of them to keep out for a little while. So today we have Maid Marian. I actually bought this for my daughter. She was born in 2022, and this just seemed appropriate. I think Maid Marian has such a cool story. Not a story for this video, but it is a very popular folklore story. As far as the coin goes, you know, it's the same for me as the Robinhood. I buy them more for the story, and they're relatively low premium, honestly, when they first came out, than I do for the actual looks. You know, the foliage in there is really cool. She's got the quiver on the back, making her look kind of Bravo Alpha. So I do think it's cool. She's sort of peeking out from the woods, which is in contrast to Mr. Robinhood, you know, who's actually, you know, up there shooting. So I almost like to imagine that she's down kind of further back on support role. Who knows, right? It's fun to talk about. Now we got to look at the obverse, of course. Is this the queen? I think this was still the queen. So not a lot to say here. You know, she's still there. There's the bedazzling. Oh, these are £2. Interesting. I didn't know that. Classically, you get a milk spot on these. You can't be helped from the Royal Mint, even on a premium coin like this or semi-premium. And they're there on the front too, making things kind of milky. Again, in the background, it's got that sort of squared finish, which you just can't see. You can kind of see the texture and the shininess of it. I've never seen it on any other Royal Mint coin series other than this one. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Leave it in the comments. But let me know what you think of these coins. I think they're cool to have. I don't know if they're going to hold their value long term. Time will tell, but I enjoy having them. And I think I've got to get rid of a coin here, so we're going to have to get rid of the ape today. I've very much enjoyed the ape, but for me, Maid Marian wins out. This one's cool and all. I'm not a huge monkey guy. Prefer the feminine touch whenever possible, you know what I'm saying? So we'll tuck that in right there. Very nice. That's my review for today. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Anecdotal Economist. If you want to support my channel, leave me a thumbs up or a subscribe. Always appreciate that. And of course, leave me comments. Let me know what you thought of the video. If you have nothing to say and you want to support the channel, today's word will be debt. So that's my 2 ounces worth. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, I'm pulling for you, and we're all in this together.
Kilogram, you're the dragon, you're the rabbit.
Okay, let's look at the money side now. Watch as I pull this bad boy out of here. Absolutely stunning once you get it out of the case. Feeling the weight of this in my hand. Oh, that's such a good feeling.
I never had enough gold.